Hello film fans and welcome to this episode of the Sherlockian. Now, this is my review of episode 3 of Prehistoric Planet, and I must say I thought it was the best episode yet. I could quite frankly have talked about every single scene that happened. It was that good, and I'm not going to because otherwise my video will be 30 minutes long and no one will watch it. But nevertheless, it was a really good episode, and if you haven't seen it, I'd advise you to watch it before seeing this video because there will be some spoilers. Now that all that's out of the way, what did I particularly like about it? Well, yesterday I said that I was a bit disappointed that the raptor scene in it was quite short. It was a great scene, but I thought not big enough to satiate my desire to see more of those little feathery critters running around chasing stuff. Well, it turns out someone in the Prehistoric Planet office must have been having the same thoughts as I was, because this episode had a much longer raptor scene. Now, you remember when I reviewed the trailer, I said, I bet with that scene with the pterosaurs on the cliff, there'll be something hunting them. Well, I was slightly wrong because I thought it would be another pterosaur. But nevertheless, I was right that there was something going to be hunting them. And it turns out it was going to be the velociraptors. There's this great scene in it where this pack of velociraptors, I suppose you call them, are basically creeping slowly around the cliffs. And obviously they have feathers, but they can't fly. But nevertheless, they're extremely agile and they've got those long claws on their feet which help them to grip on. And they slowly sneak around. And then they creep up on a pterosaur, and then they jump on it. And it's this brilliant scene where the female, who's bigger than the two males she's hunting with, grabs the pterosaur, and then they sort of squabble over it for a bit on this small ledge. And all the other pterosaurs then come and attack them. And then, accidentally, the female drops the pterosaur she's killed, and goes leaping after it. And there's this brilliant shot of her jumping down after it, and she sort of scrabbles round, down onto the rocks, and lands on the floor of the cliff, without killing herself, which is quite incredible, really. And then she runs off with it, leaving the two males higher up the cliff to deal with all these angry pterosaurs trying to poke them in the eye with their beaks. So that was a brilliant thing. I really enjoyed that. I mean, obviously, it's quite cool. What I particularly like, I haven't mentioned this before about Prehistoric Planet, but they show such variation between the different individual dinosaurs. Generally speaking, with dinosaur programs, they have kind of like a set image for each dinosaur. You know, we're going to make the T-Rex green with bits of brown on it, and then every single T-Rex is going to look exactly the same. But with Prehistoric Planet, they've shown such brilliant variation. So the raptors all have this kind of greyishy blue plumage, but then one of them sort of got like a bit of red on it as well, as if it's kind of like growing out of its juvenile plumage, which I thought was really cool. It makes it feel far more real and believable. And yeah, the whole scene is just fantastic, and it's just really cool watching them slowly creep towards these pterosaurs inch by inch, and knowing that if they fall off, they obviously can't fly, so they're going to be hurtling down to their death. Then the second bit I liked, again, was quite close to the beginning, was the bit with the T-Rex. Now, again, and one of the reasons why I like this episode so much might be because so many of my predictions came true in it. But I said I thought they were going to show a more intimate look at T-Rex sort of family life, if you like. And again, this is exactly what they've done. They start off with the bit that they showed in the trailer with the male T-Rex just having killed a Triceratops. Now, I was surprised they didn't actually show you it killing it. It just shows you it just afterwards, essentially. Which again makes it feel very believable, as if they're a film crew in the past, because obviously you don't always see the hunt when you're out there. You just film what you see. So it's like the film crew have just come across this big male T-Rex having killed the Triceratops, and then they watch him feed, and then they see him going to clean his wounds, and then when he's doing that, he meets a female. And there's this really good scene where the two of them meet across this river. And again, that's in the trailer as well, where they show them sort of touching noses. And there's this really lovely intimate scene where the male and female sort of like slowly sort of size each other up and then gradually become more and more intimate. And there's this interesting bit, and I've no idea whether it's, true or not, because one, I don't have a time machine, and two, I didn't really have time to go and look into the science too much. But I do know that they can assess dinosaur skin colour through some of the material they find. So it's not impossible that this is, entirely based on scientific evidence and not even a little bit of kind of guesswork. But the male lifts his head up like this and shows the female like this red patch of skin underneath his chin. And again, I've no idea if it's true or not, but it feels quite a believable thing to do, and it shows that he's ready to mate with her. And then there's this lovely scene with them sort of just gradually bonding. And again, the scene when they actually mate is shown again quite cleverly. It's like shown through the leaves, as if the film crew have sort of tried to maneuver into position without disturbing them too much. But what's really clever is they kind of use this artistically as well. So the leaves almost like frame the two of their heads as they go in for this intimate sort of moment. And it's just a beautiful scene. It's really, really well shot. And yeah, I really liked it. And then the last scene I particularly liked was probably the shortest. There was this scene with these sort of crab-eating smaller theropod dinosaurs running around. This female with her 3 babies. And the babies are only 4 inches tall, so they're quite cute. And one of them's chasing these little baby crabs, and you think, oh yeah, this is, a bit like the T-Rex scene at the beginning with the T-Rexes chasing the baby turtles. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, leaps out Beelzebufo. Now, I mentioned before, yesterday, that I really like the names of some dinosaurs or pterosaurs. And it turns out, prehistoric amphibians as well. Because guess what Beelzebufo stands for? Devil Toad. I challenge anybody in the comments to find a better prehistoric creature name. It's so cool. And it sums it up so wonderfully. Apparently, I looked it up just now to find out a bit more about it, because it only appears for that scene where it jumps out, eats a baby dinosaur, then sort of lowers back into the pool where it's been submerged. But it turns out Beelzebufo was probably at least 25 centimeters long. So I've got a ruler here, and 25 centimeters long is about that, where my left hand is. So it's about that wide, from nose to vent, if you like. But obviously, I think according to Wikipedia, which is maybe totally wrong because I didn't really have enough time to look it up properly, but apparently that's about the size of the largest amphibians today. Some people have estimated Beelzebufo could have grown even bigger, like 45 centimeters long. But even the smallest estimates show that they've got the incredibly big heads, like most of their body's made up of their head, so they would have been able to eat much larger prey than modern amphibians. And even the the biggest amphibians today can quite easily eat small mammals. So that gives you some idea of how terrifying this animal must have been. It's absolutely great. And again, that scene is actually in the trailer with the thing with the long tongues, like lashing out and grabbing the little dinosaur. That's Beelzebufo. Yeah, I haven't really got more to add because it's only in that scene, but it's absolutely great. It might be my favourite bit in the series so far, mainly just because I like the name, because I'm a bit of a child. But anyway, yeah, that was my review of this episode of Prehistoric Planet. It was absolutely brilliant. I think it was my favourite so far. There were so many other really good scenes, like these pterosaurs swimming up, rivers to catch fish in the estuaries, and this other, a hadrosaur, which has got like feathers on it and lives in a swamp and looks a bit like Dougal from the Magic Roundabout. Again, I would really advise, if you're only going to watch one episode of this show, then watch this one, at least, up until this point anyway, because it's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, that was the Sherlockian. Thanks very much for watching, film fans. If you liked this review, then feel free to check out my other reviews of the previous 2 episodes in the series, and my trailer review as well, if you want to look at some of my predictions that I made. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.